Hello, this is Linda, and it's time for Learn with Linda again. Today's topic is, so you want to be a consultant or succeed at consulting if you're already consulting. And this is one of my favorite topics. I love talking about this because I've been a consultant for more than 30 years, and I'm loving every minute of it. In fact, in the background, you'll see one of the places I got to travel because of my consulting, and that is Bermuda, beautiful Bermuda. It was a great trip. But let me tell you first a little bit about me. For those of you who don't know me, maybe you haven't attended some of my other Learn with Linda webinars or taken any of my courses, but I'm the author of numerous books, I believe about over 30 in the fundraising field alone. Plus, I've written a novel and a travel book and some spiritual books. But one of the books that I was really delighted to actually co-edit is the Nonprofit Consulting Playbook. And this has been out a number of years. We involved 25 leaders in the field. They were all consultants who had been in business at least 10 years to give all kind of advice on the field of consulting. So I'm guessing that you're taking this webinar because maybe you're ready to just leave your job. You've just had it. And I think for many consultants, it's like, I just can't take one more day on my job. I'm tired of working for one organization. Even if you love your job, you may just feel that it's time for a little bit more variety. That's one of the things that got me interested in consulting, was the ability to work with such a variety of clients. As I mentioned, not all over the world, but I've worked in Canada, Mexico, Bermuda, Egypt, and most of the 50 states in this country. And so I really just wanted the variety. Wasn't necessarily always that you're unhappy with your job, but sometimes you are like myself and you just want more variety. When you're working in one organization, sometimes you just get tired of maybe doing the same thing day in and day out. And you think, I'd like to expand and maybe do some things that I haven't done before. I had a business partner once who mostly spent her time in grant writing, but she wanted to get more involved in capital campaigns. And knowing I had experience in capital campaigns, we decided to team up, and we were good complementary skills for each other. So that partnership was a really good idea. Now, some of you, maybe you really do enjoy one aspect of your work, and that's all you want to focus on. Maybe you love grant writing, and your job entails grant writing, special events, major donors, all kinds of things. And you want to really focus on one area, whether it's major gifts, whether it's plan giving, whether it's grant writing. So maybe you'd like to focus more on one thing, and being a consultant would give you the opportunity to do that if you choose to be a consultant that specializes in one area. Or you might just want to make more money and have more free time. Well, making the more money is questionable, especially when you're just starting out. Or oftentimes you have to take into consideration things that you need to spend money on now that you didn't have to before, like health benefits and things like that. But for me, it was having more free, not necessarily more free time, but that I was able to work at my own pace and take time off when I wanted to take off, not depending on somebody's vacation schedule at work. If you're really looking for a lot more free time, you might want to consider consulting as a part-time gig, because most consultants I know work way more hours than they worked when they were working for a nonprofit organization. But maybe it's just the freedom to spend your time, and that's what appeals to me. If I feel like taking a day off, I just take it, as long as I know the client meeting scheduled that day. So maybe you really are in consulting or for a while, but you feel like there's something missing, that you'd like to be a little bit more successful. So hopefully we're going to address all of those areas. But before we do, I want to take time for a little paid commercial here. You're going to be getting a special bonus offer if you stay on till the end of this webinar on a course that I run called nonprofit consulting, get started, get clients, grow, and evolve. And it covers all of those things, what you need to know to get started, how you can get more clients, how you can grow your business and when it's time to grow, and even maybe to evolve your organization. So whether you're a new consultant or just thinking about becoming one, or you've been a consultant for years, but you still aren't quite sure how to market and promote yourself and how to sell your services and grow your business, this course might be the answer for you. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that at the end of this webinar. But first, let's jump in and talk a little bit about why people do get into consulting. And as I mentioned, for a lot of people, it's just the better hours. They like to be able to be free. Maybe they have young children in home and there's kids have to be taken to school and picked up from school. And it's a kind of a burden when they're working in a full-time job. But as a consultant, you can usually work your schedule around your family life and other areas that you have. More pay, certainly there's more opportunities. It's going to take a lot of work to be earning more money. But when you think about the daily pay that a consultant gets, a lot of people think, well, that sounds really great. But sometimes they don't think about the expenses that consultants have also. And for me, like I said, it was just the freedom to set my own schedule. In fact, in a few weeks, I'm taking 2 weeks off to go do some volunteer work down at the border to help refugees. And I wouldn't be able to do that probably if I had a full-time job. A lot of times it's the ability to work at home. Now, not all consultants work at home. Some work in an office, especially if you're working for a big firm, you may have office hours that you're required to put in. And it's just like working for a nonprofit, you have certain hours that you're expected to keep. But for a lot of consultants, and frankly, most of the consultants I know are one-person shops and they collaborate with other consultants when they need to. But the ability to work at home can be tremendous, especially if you do have young children or if you have aging parents. When I first started my business, my mother was living with me and was getting dementia. And so it was important for me to be able to be at home with her. And the biggest selling feature for me, as I said, was the variety of work. I have worked with so many different kind of organizations, just about any sector of the nonprofit world that you can name. I've probably worked with them, everything from churches to LGBT communities to mentoring children of prisoners and environmental groups and education and healthcare. So, and human services. So I have really worked with a variety of clients. And for me, that's one of the things I love the most about consulting, because frankly, I get bored pretty easily. The longest job I ever held was with one bank. I was there 7 years, but in those 7 years, I think I had 11 different positions within the bank. So it was a lot of variety in my work, even though it was the same thing. But I knew that I could never go and work every day doing the same thing for years and years. I just couldn't do that because it's not my style. So for me, the variety of work was just one of the biggest benefits. But you have to think about some things. If you're just thinking about going into consulting, can you work independently or do you need a team to support you? There are some people like myself, I love to work independently. I shouldn't say I'm not a team player because I've worked with a lot of teams, but some people can't do that. I know one consultant who did some contract work for me for a while. And when I first met her, she had had a career in several different organizations. And she said she decided to branch out and do consulting, but she really missed the team atmosphere of being in an organization. And so she said, you know, can I come and do some work for you? And I said, oh, well, yeah, I don't want to hire staff, but I said, I have a number of subcontractors who work under me, and that would be great. So for her, consulting for herself, she just wasn't cut out to do it. And then can you live with the fear of famine? Not that you're going to starve to death usually, but basically a fluctuating income, because consulting is often feast or famine. You either have so many clients and you're so busy, or all of a sudden they all end and you don't have any clients for a while. And now what are you going to do? So you might want to ask yourself, can you manage that? Maybe you have another source of income. When I started my business, I did kind of a crazy thing, I guess. Started my business with one contract, and I went out and rented an office and hired a staff person. But I had unemployment income because I had actually been let go of the job that I was at. So that kind of sustained me. Plus, my husband was willing to deal with the uncertainties until I got started. And I also was able to cash in a retirement fund from one of my employers. It didn't require it to be done at a certain age. So that was, for me, it was a big help. But if you're the sole source of income for your family, you might not be able to deal with that feast or famine. And can you multitask and balance multiple clients? Because I can guarantee you that all your clients are going to want something on the same day. It just seems like, okay, our deadline is this Friday. Well, the next client comes along and their deadline is also this Friday. So you have to be able to multitask and balance different clients, and oftentimes shift gears easily. I might be working with one client that's doing a strategic plan and another client that I'm helping develop a major gift program or something. So you have to be able to be flexible and say, okay, can I shift gears and manage all these deadlines? And then think about how much travel you want to do. In my case, when I started out, I wanted to do as much traveling as I could. So I didn't mind working locally, regionally, nationally, and internationally. As I got older, I started thinking, man, this travel is really getting to be a drag. And so the emphasis of my consulting has changed quite a bit. And can you work long hours and sometimes strange hours? One thing that you need to be aware of when you're working nationally or internationally, I've had clients, like I said, in Egypt. I've had clients that board members were in several countries in Europe, and some in Brazil, and some in the United States, and some in Canada. And so we have to schedule meetings sometimes at some rather bizarre hours. And I still have a client that when I get Greenwich Mean Time, I have to try to figure out, what does that mean in my time zone? When I get a Zoom invitation, I sometimes have to look at it and say, okay, what time is this for me? So those things are important to think about. And some people just aren't cut out to be consultants. I've known people who are excellent fundraisers, but when it comes to consulting, they just don't know how to manage their life and their career. So it is important. Now, there's also many different kinds of consultants. Some are single focused. Maybe all they want to do are capital campaigns, or all they want to do is grant writing, or all they want to do is planning. I happen to like being a generalist because I like variety. As I've said, I've never wanted to just focus on one thing. There are some clients who like working with a specific focus of clients. Maybe they only want to work with churches or with human service or with the arts, even down to the specifics of, I only want to work with Big Brothers, Big Sisters, or YMCAs or something like that. So if you're happy doing that, then do it if you really feel that's an area of expertise. And then, do you want to be a one-person shop, maybe a medium-sized shop, or maybe you'd want to go to work for a large firm or someday be the owner of a large firm yourself? I was a medium-sized shop, I guess you'd call it. I had 3 employees and at different times as many as 7 different subcontracted consultants that worked under me. But after I moved to Nevada, and I still had my business in Pennsylvania, and I still had subcontractors there and some out here. But then I found that I really wanted to kind of slow down a little bit and focus more on my writing and teaching. So now I'm a sole proprietor, and I'm very happy that way. which brings me to the next thing is, how do you want to incorporate your business? And I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not giving you legal advice, but investigate all these different things. And I've been all of them, so I can probably give you some advice based on my experience. I started out as a subchapter S. I haven't been a subchapter C corporation because that's usually for bigger firms, but I was a subchapter S corporation. And then I became a partnership. And then I became an LLC. And as I said, now I've decided I wanted to kind of downsize a little bit, and I'm a sole proprietor. And they all have their advantages and disadvantages. So think about that and talk to a lawyer or an accountant and see what's best for you. There are also some legal issues you have to know before you get into this field, or if you're thinking about expanding your field. Maybe you only work in one state and they don't require registration of consultants, but maybe you'd like to expand your business. And in the United States, I believe there's 41 states now that do require nonprofits and consultants to register. So if you want to work in multiple states, state registration can get quite expensive. I've always tried to focus on staying within a couple states at one time, and I don't register until I have an actual paying client that signed a contract in that state. But there's also things that you should know about subcontractor versus being an employee, and the IRS has regulations about that. And then tax laws and liability issues. What kind of insurance is it you're going to need? All those things are things that you need to think about when you get into this. Now, a lot of people have a lot of questions about marketing. And so my course covers a great deal. We have a whole lesson on just marketing. But typically, the way people usually market their consulting business is definitely you need a website. I used to use a lot of collateral materials. I had brochures and I printed newsletters, and I had a lot of written proposals, spiral bound. Now in this digital age, I do everything. I have a website, but I don't produce any written materials anymore. Everything I just send out to people electronically. Social media can be used to market your business. Belonging to professional organizations. I frankly, when I started my business, got most of my clients from my contacts at AFP, the Association of Fundraising Professionals, and through networking. Actually, some of my former bosses at the bank that I worked for ended up referring clients to me. And the consultant that I worked with when I was a staff member in a development office, he ended up referring clients to me because he worked for a big firm, and some of the clients couldn't afford his firm and they didn't need such a big firm. So I got a lot of clients through networking. Advertising is usually not very productive unless it's very, very focused to a target market. I also got a lot of business through my speaking engagements and writing. I've written more than 35 books now, I think. And a lot of times people will contact me because they have my book and they want to know if I can help them. We also talk in the course a little bit about how you go about setting fees. Do you set an hourly fee, a daily rate? Is it project-based? Do you work on a monthly retainer? I typically base it on the project, but there are many ways that you can go about pricing your fees. And then surviving and thriving. One of the things, as I said, you've got to be flexible. I often recommend that you maybe work with a mentor or a coach. I actually do some consulting to the consultant and help them out with some things that maybe they're not good at. Sometimes you may want to add services or eliminate services or change some of the services that you're doing. Or you might want to take on an associate. I don't have any paid associates right now, but I do have some other consultants that I subcontract with, and I have some that subcontract with me. I have one right now that we have a proposal out. He's going to be the lead consultant, and I'm going to support him in whatever way I can, and we'll split revenues accordingly. And I've also worked with other consultants, and I find this is to me, so much easier than hiring more staff, because one of the reasons I went into consulting was I hated being a boss. That's one of the things that you have to think about. What is the best solution for you? Because we're all different. So what do you need to know before you hang out your shingle? Well, I think there's a couple of things that you need to know, like having a business plan, knowing about registration, knowing the legal structure, and many of those things. But how you can learn more about this is through the course that I mentioned. And as I said, it's called Nonprofit Consulting, Get Started, Get Clients, Grow, and Evolve. And it's a course to either help you get started or to grow your business. And in fact, we even talk a little bit about downsizing your business when you're ready to maybe think about retirement. One of these days I might retire, maybe when I'm about 90 or 100, I don't know. But the course itself is 4 video lessons, and you take these all at your own time. You don't have to sign on at any certain time. Everything is downloadable. It comes with some handouts also, and it is worth 4 CFRE credits. So if you are a CFRE and you need to renew, or if you're thinking about becoming a CFRE, which is one of the things I did as soon as I started my consulting business, because it gave me some credibility. This course is approved for 4 CFRE credits. So I would suggest, if you're new to this, just thinking about this, or just want to maybe change the focus of your business a little bit, maybe learn how to grow your business and how to market your business, that you sign up for this course. And right now, because you took the Learn with Linda session, I always offer some special bonuses to the people who take Learn with Linda. So that special offer that I mentioned is that the regular price of this course is $299. But if you sign up right now while you're taking this Learn with Linda session, you can get a 20% discount, and you just use the code when you go to sign up for the course, LWL20. So you can go to the link, sign up for this course, and I think you'll really get a lot out of it. So I hope to see you there. And if you have any questions about the course or about anything that you want to talk to me about, feel free to contact me, and I will hopefully see you in the course. Bye.